One day.
girl is trying to force me to eat every oh,
Food.
difficult.
I hear you. Well, I am proud of you sticking with it as long.
I appreciate
Bob, I know Warriors is actually Morel's promoter. So, and
okay.
I know you're being facetious, but he would have been approved for a license. So there was enough of a blip on an MRA that was taken that the commission required a second opinion. He went and sought a second opinion, and they even said that they didn't see anything that should prevent him from being licensed, and that they wanted to follow up a year from now just to kind of monitor, what the initial finding was. And that where he went for a second opinion, they said they couldn't even see it, and even if they enhanced it, it didn't matter because whatever they would have found is still within regulations. It still puts him on the extremely low risk of any injury. But I guess it was enough to spook the Nevada Commission. They went, sought counsel, and decided that he should not be licensed for this
Yeah, but isn't the Nevada Commission the same commission that approves anything UFC wants them to do?
fight.
Like, I don't understand that.
Look, I don't know enough about UFC to know what gets approved and what doesn't. I hear you, man.
They approve slap fighting, Jay.
No, I get that. Look, there's far more familiarity with other elements of combat sports than there is with boxing when it comes to the Nevada Commission. I totally understand that. It's not a level playing field. On this particular instance, here's my issue. Because it's David Morrell, I understand erring on the side of caution. His last fight, he just put a guy in the hospital. The guy had to be placed in a medically induced coma for emergency surgery. So if Sana was fighting Benavidez, Canelo, any other super middleweight, I'd be like, you know what, he's getting screwed. They should just license him, let him fight. Because it's Morrell, I totally get kind of tiptoeing around this one. You don't want to put him in the same position where he's putting, two straight opponents in the hospital, especially if it leaks out that, the commission discovered this minor issue in advance. So that is where we're at with Saint Agbeko. And whatever you think of him, he is significantly better than Yamaguchi Falcao.
Well, I don't think of him. I have no clue who he is.
He's
Is he related to Joseph?
No.
Let's check.
I can tell you all about Sana. He's a very nice guy. I believe it was. So, this is, I'm not going to say he sat, he earned what Morrell has, but, he was put into taken away from him. So, right, that's what I'm saying. This is not a payday he can go get anywhere else. He's not gonna. It's not like they can make it up to him. Say, okay, we're gonna headline our next showbox, and we're gonna blow our budget just to make it up for you.
So again, why was he removed from the card?
There was an issue with his medical, where he didn't fail his medical, so they saw something. I don't want to disclose too much of what took place without his permission, but they saw something on his MRA where the commission said they felt like he probably could have been approved, but that they felt better if he got a second opinion. He got the second opinion. They said it was fine. They didn't see any issue with licensing him, just something that they wanted to monitor a year from now. But I don't know if Jeff Mullen, who's the executive director, he took over from Bob Bennett. I don't know if he consulted other commissioners and they told him, to not license him or whatever, but the end result is they denied him a license. So he's not suspended. He's not medically suspended or anything like that. The Nevada Commission just denied him a license, similar to what happened with Michaela Mayer's original opponent for later today.
Now, with her? It was an issue that she's always had. She's been approved for it before, right?
That's the story that's coming out. I hope that's the truth. I find it very bizarre that the British Boxing Board of Control would approve her for a Katie Taylor fight. Obviously, Katie Taylor's a different beast. If you lose her opponent, you lose the event. I don't know if that was the case where they looked the other way then and they're just, being more cautious now, or if there's more to the story. My problem with it is once Lynn Artitude dropped off the show, she was replaced by someone who she's been training with, Lucy Wildheart. She was, I don't know if she's just a sparring partner or someone who they regularly train together. Nevertheless, that opponent was found remarkably quick, and she's on weight. She was supposed to fight in May in Sweden, and then all of a sudden was available to fight today on 1 day's notice and was on weight. So I feel like there's a little bit more to the story there.
Do you care to speculate at all?
No, I don't have enough information. So no, definitely when it comes to medical stuff. But I mean, look, if it is the same issue and the BBBOC just, reversed course from where they were 4 years ago, it's kind of screwed up, especially to wait until the morning of the weigh-in to decide that she can't fight.
I heard from a source, a guy named Victor Rosales, that she's pregnant. Is that true?
I'm not getting into that. And please stop tagging me on that nonsense.
All right.
Thank you.
She's not pregnant, J-Ro.
She had a baby. She was out of the ring. She lost her title because she had a baby.
Also, she was pregnant, but not this time.
Correct. She already had a baby. She was out of the ring. She had the WBO 140-pound title. The WBO actually made her give it up because she wasn't available to defend it. So they got to, Lou DiBella's on this whole rant. They got to change their bylaws.
That's not illegal?
To strip her?
Yeah, that's not illegal. I can't
They classified it as her not being available due to injury. So she's not in a position to defend the title. I don't agree with it, but
interesting.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it either.
But it doesn't matter because she's not even fighting today anyway. I mean, it kind of does matter.
Sounds like discrimination.
It is. And look, the WBO, boxing, as women's boxing continues to evolve, the sport needs to catch up because a lot of the laws or bylaws are severely outdated. But even if she had a title, she still would, and she was fighting in England, she still wouldn't have been cleared to fight today.
Well, obviously the show must go on. You said that this woman is her sparring partner. Is she any good?
Lucy, well, she's not as good as Lynn Artitude. And look, let's be honest, Lynn Artitude is okay. She's a good fighter. She's not a great fighter. We've seen her ceiling. I think Michaela Mayer would have looked very good against Lynn Artitude. But there was a story today. She and I had a great interview about it last week, how she didn't want just any opponent for her first fight after the one with Alicia Baumgartner. She wanted a fight that told the story that, Lynn Artitude, her only losses are to Katie Taylor and to Delphine Persoon. She is the only fighter to officially beat Alicia Baumgartner. So it's very easy for an audience to follow, the bouncing ball. Here, Lucy Wildheart, now she's back to just fighting someone else. So it's not obviously a hand-picked opponent. It's who she has to settle for on 1 day's notice. So I expect Michaela Mayer to look just as good today as she would have, even if she was fighting Lynn Artitude.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other boxing news that you got out there? Any stories you got out there?
Nothing sexy. Just I wrote a story last night. The IBF went ahead and they sent invitations to the camps for Luis Neri and Rais Salim for what would be an official IBF eliminator to become the mandatory for newly crowned champion Marlon Tapales. It's interesting because both of them are actually already on the WBC path. Neri is the WBC mandatory challenger. He beat Izat Hovhannissian and the leading contender for fight of the year, as far as I'm concerned anyway. Rais Salim was supposed to be fighting David Picasso. That fight, I believe, is still on course for sometime this summer. Zanfer Promotions is looking for a date, but I have yet to hear that fight is not taking place. So for the IBF to actually go this route is curious, but neither side has rejected the fight yet. They have until, weirdly, the end of business day today, 5 o'clock Eastern today, which is weird for a Saturday, but that's where we are. So anyway, we're going to find out if they ditch the WBC route and go this way and wind up fighting Tapales, or if they're going to wait out the WBC route where Neri would get the winner of Fulton and Naoya Inoue, and then Rais Salim, if he beats Picasso, would be the second mandatory. So
I don't see why either guy would turn it down. Like I would much rather fight Tapales than to get beat up by Inoue or Fulton.
So, with that in mind, for Rais Salim, who has an extremely difficult time finding anyone willing to fight him, I totally get why he would say, "Well, why am I going to wait 2 mandatories deep to fight Fulton or Inoue?" I don't think it's the matter of winning an easier title, beating an easier foe, whatever. But it's just a quicker path to the title. If he wins an IBF eliminator, he goes straight to Tapales, rather than waiting. Because if you're waiting in line behind Neary, you're not fighting for the title until next year. The way the sport is, guys just aren't fighting, more than twice a year. So he's looking at 2024 for his first title shot. Whereas if he wins an IBF eliminator, he can then fight Tapales later this year, theoretically.
Tapales was the IBF mandatory, correct?
Correct. He was the IBF mandatory. He waited a long time. He was IBF mandatory for over a year. Akhmadaliev got to fight Ronnie Rios first. The WBA mandatory beat him, broke his hand, filed an injury exception. So he wrote that out to the rest of the year. Tapales' team was convinced that Akhmadaliev was just trying to delay it so he can get down to weight, because he was very hefty at one point. Their fight was very strange. People at home were convinced that there was no question that Tapales deserved to win. Those of us in the venue, very few people thought Tapales won the fight. But I don't think it was a robbery. I thought the 118-110 score for MJ was absurd. I really didn't have the problem with the 115-113 cards for Tapales.
And there was no rematch clause, right?
No, not for mandatories. So now it's back to square one for MJ.
Yeah, but didn't Dimitri Bivol say that MJ really won?
That I would like to say, if I wrote something that you wouldn't be publicly critical of it, that you would just tell me behind closed doors. So I don't think Bivol is right. I don't think Bivol is going to slam his own stablemate.
Oh, they're stablemates.
Yeah, they're both
Vadim
Konolov. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Something else. It wasn't breaking news, but I did speak to Vadim and to Eddie. Bivol is no longer going to pursue a June fight. It's just become too much of a hassle. He's going to wait out Canelo, John Ryder, and then look for that fight in September. Vadim has gone on record saying they actually want the fight at super middleweight. I found that it was the thing that Eddie was pushing. Everyone thought was like, well, why would he want that? And put Bivol in this position. Bivol is actually the one who now wants to challenge for the undisputed super middleweight championship. I don't see how that happens.
That's why.
But he could just as easily fight Canelo at 175, especially if Canelo was saying he's fine with fighting him at that weight. I don't see how Bivol is going to get away with jumping the line, though. The sanctioned bodies will obviously let him get away with it because it's Canelo. But Canelo's finally fighting a mandatory. So for someone else to jump over Benavidez and Morrell, and I forget the IBF guy, but someone else to come in and jump those guys, that's an extremely tough sell for me.
Is it a tough sell for you, Lefty, or you want Bivol to jump the line? Because I personally think Canelo should be mandated to fight Morrell or Benavidez and just call it a day. Either give up the titles or fight them.
Correct.
Because nobody waited for Josh Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor gave up 3 titles for a rematch that he thought he was going to have and wound up not even taking.
Now, what's going on with Devin Haney? Why is he chirping that Tank when he got a fight coming up? But yeah, he's very quiet and focusing on his fight when Shakur Stevenson calls him out.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know what to say to any of that. I've seen the comments about how Bill Haney is aggressive towards Calvin Ford, but not quite so in Lomachenko's direction. I don't. I guess it's kind of like writers. They know what headlines to chase. Devin Haney knows what's going to make generate the most attention.
Did anyone say anything about Bill Haney saying those disgusting comments about Tank's mother?
What I missed. What did he say? So
he was
I guess the answer is no, but no, I didn't see any of that, to be honest.
He was basically talking about how easily he could sleep with her or something like that.
That's crossing the line.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that kid. And it's Ramadan. They're supposed to be Muslim too.
They
talk about that woman like that.
Actually, what I forget the term, but there's where you can not bypass it, but kind of
make it up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do some charity, make it up, do some prayers.
I don't know how Bill gets out of that, though. I mean, Devin, I understand he's the one training. Bill doesn't have to lose weight.
Yeah. Man, it's like a real slow day in boxing. You have any thoughts on the Joe Joyce card that's coming up?
I have a question for you. Chris Colbert, moving back down to 130. He said he'll only fight Frank Martin at 130, which you know is not going to happen. But so who was down there at 130 for him?
He thinks he's going to get a rematch with Hector Garcia. That's a wait. I mean, Hector Garcia has to fight Lamont Roach. I don't know where negotiations are at, if there have even been any negotiations. I don't know. I mean, Gary, there was a plan once upon a time for Hector Garcia to fight Gary Russell, but they just couldn't get it on paper. I guess either in time or just, provide the WBA with enough evidence to where that fight was actually going to take place, which triggered the WBA to order that fight. But if Gary Russell is willing to come back and fight at 130, I don't necessarily mind that fight.
Okay. And we got the undercard release for Rolly versus Puello. There was no Gary Antoine Russell. What happened with that?
He supposedly, I'm going to say supposedly, he's injured, so he's out. He was supposed to fight Kent Cruz. They said I think it's a hand injury, so he's going to be out a little longer. I don't know what's happening with Kent Cruz. Not sure how many people actually care what's happening with him. No offense to him, but he wasn't the driver in that one. So instead, we get an even better fight with we have a WBA eliminator on the card now. Now I'm drawing a blank. It's Bakhtiar Akhmadov is fighting. So in my opinion, that's an upgrade because on the card was a little bit underwhelming, to be honest.
Speaking of underwhelming undercards, did the Tank Ryan card just run out of money? Like, how did we end up with such a horrible card for such a enormous pay-per-view?
Yeah, I don't get it. I knew once Morrell was going to be on the card that the opponent was never going to be spectacular, and his, we mentioned, somehow downgraded. This is. I mean, it's proof the main event drives the show because, it's going to have an exceedingly high gate. Pay-per-view sales, I don't know, with piracy, how extreme, if it's going to live up to, a number we all think it could hit. But, it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be the biggest pay-per-view of the year. But, yeah, that on the card is not good at all.
Do you think Gary Antoine is, he'll probably face the winner of Puello versus Raleigh?
He's going to have to win a fight to get there. I mean, they're already doing another WBA eliminator on that card. And Ismael Barroso is still owed the title shot. He stepped aside to allow Rolly. He thought he was stepping aside to allow Gary Antoine to fight Puello. So it turns out he's now stepping aside to allow Rolando Romero to fight Puello. He's still the mandatory. So you got to keep paying this guy to stand down to keep pushing these other guys ahead. So you can't keep ordering eliminators and then just, letting anyone just jump to the top of the queue. I mean, I know, as we mentioned, it's happening with Canelo, but it's kind of hypocritical if PBC is going to be doing the same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What I still don't understand is with this Morrell situation, you're saying that the medical issue or whatever, maybe it was too dangerous, but this guy is a lot worse than
competition-wise, I'm a little surprised he got approved, but I mean, he's an Olympian. He only has one loss, so maybe, look, Bob Bennett during his tenure, he was called BoxRec Bob. So, Jeff Mullen used to be a commissioner out in Tennessee. It's not out here, it's not exactly a boxing hotbed. I know he's combat sports knowledge. I just don't know how deep he goes into, as far as boxing goes. He is a straightforward guy, but it's just not. My problem too is that this fight seemed to be in place a lot longer than just a day or two ago. There seemed to be knowledge that it was at least a week where, Morrell's team, I'm convinced that Morrell's team is the one that leaked. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't care how it sounds accusation-wise, but their team seemed to know for at least a week that there was a good chance they were not going to fight Becco. 3 different outlets all reported it. All of them have ties to Morrell's camp. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
This card today, Joe Joyce versus Big Wang Zhang.
Big Bang Zhang. Yeah.
I mean, Big Bang Zhang.
Big Bang. Yes. What about?
What do we have for this undercard? We have the women's fight.
Nothing.
We have Moses. How do you say his name?
It's Huama, I believe.
Yeah. He's supposedly trying to become the youngest heavyweight champion since Tyson. You also have who are those guys you were saying yesterday, Matt? Matt know the whole card. Matt.
Oh, I'm here. I'm sorry about
what was
that.
the other fight you said was pretty decent?
You talking about Sam Noakes?
Yeah.
Well, he's undefeated, 10 wins, 10 knockouts. He's going up against a fellow undefeated fighter who also has 10 wins, named Kartik Satish Kumar. Now, I think it's going to be interesting because supposedly this kid is like going to be the next guy that Frank Warren tries to get a WBO title shot sooner rather than later. So I'm thinking that's interesting. We'll go with that one.
Yeah, I like Sam
That's basically it.
Yeah,
that's basically it. Do you think Sam Noakes is a decent prospect, or it's just a competition?
No, I mean it's a combination of both, but I do. I like his upside. I don't know how far he goes, but he is a fun watch.
Will you be in Vegas next week?
No, of course not.
Huh?
Of course not.
Why not?
No, Keith Idek gets that. Come on.
You can still go for the atmosphere.
Yeah. I cannot afford the atmosphere.
Hey, listen, get that chicken talk credential.
Yeah.
I just thought
they don't need to know.
thought Jake would have a section in the club or something.
Nah, I got my $60 purchased pay-per-view that I'll be watching from the comfort of my own home.
I'm trying to win that free pay-per-view.
Now, what's up with Joe Joyce claiming that others are running scared from him?
Well, Fury is.
So I know they've repeatedly mentioned that when Joe Joyce wins tonight, that he is a candidate to fight Tyson Fury in July. I do not believe that for a second. I believe that if there is a pathway, Joe Joyce will kick that door down and take it. I just don't believe Tyson Fury is going to fight him next.
So you agree that people are running scared from Joe Joyce?
Well, and it's frustrating to him because he was obviously given bad information because he was never going to be next to fight Alexander Usyk. But Queensberry even tried to stack the deck to where they were going to get Dubois to stand down and let Joe Joyce fight Usyk first. So it might even be more politically than anything else. But I give the guy all the credit in the world. I mean, you look at the guys he's fighting while waiting out a title shot. Very few fighters are willing to do that. You know, we're in an era where most guys are willing to sit on their lead. So we don't always get fights like, Benavidez and Plant, for guys waiting for a shot at the top prize. So Joe Joyce, he's willing to clean out the heavyweight division on his road to fighting for his first legitimate world title.
Yeah, the guy he beat is getting the title before he is.
Right. So, and we all this talk
shot
about how Hrgovic was the boogeyman. Hrgovic is not calling out Joe Joyce. He's not giving up that IBF spot. He's not going to try to, the sanctioning bodies would let them unify, interim titles if Hrgovic gets one. But he's not going to go chase that fight. Nobody's going to be in a hurry to fight Joe Joyce.
Now, speaking of sanctioning bodies not ordering these fights, what happened with Shadasia Green having her mandatory rescinded against Franchon Cruz Dezern?
That was absurd. So I saw that fight ordered, and I was surprised because the rumor was always that Franchon was going to fight Savannah Marshall. I texted Mauricio and asked him, I'm like, hey, I just I heard a rumor this fight was ordered. He even told me flat out she will very likely fight Savannah Marshall. He didn't tell me they were going to rescind the order. So I contacted Shadasia Green's team. They said in no way, shape, or form were they going to stand down. That fight was ordered. They wanted to negotiate it. They were even prepared to order an immediate purse bid. She absolutely wanted that title shot first. She said, why should she stand down and let someone else fight and potentially beat Franchon when she can go fight and beat her and become that much more valuable? Why should she go fight Savannah Marshall as the challenger when she could be the undisputed champion? So she got completely screwed out of a title shot in this one. I don't know if I guess maybe the WBC, you can argue that the WBC jumped the gun. They should have reached out to Franchon's teams first to see if she already had a fight scheduled. So that could be their clerical error in this one. But I mean, look, when sanctioned bodies do stuff like that, it just makes them look even worse than they already are.
Shoot me text me Jose's number. I got some choice words for him. Not Jose, that? I mean Mauricio. I always call him Jose. Who was
now you also huh? I'm sorry, what'd you say, Lefty?
Shadasia Green's promoter.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
Oh, Jake Paul is?
She just signed with him. She just signed with him before her last fight with Eileen Cederroos. Yep.
Maybe she can get on a fight on his undercard.
That's the theory, that she'll probably fight in August. But in the meantime, it's not a title fight, and she wants to stay active.
Yeah, but that'd be good. That'd be a good look for
that's
awesome. I've never seen.
Franchon probably could have made more money fighting on Jake Paul card.
Right. Well,
whatever.
If she's going to England, I'm sure she's getting a much bigger payday there.
But how did the Marshall fight come about anyway? Because like that came out of nowhere. Marshall just lost to Clarissa Shields. Like, why is she not trying to run that back like she said she wanted to?
So that was the only holdup, because initially she did say that she, was going to invoke the rematch clause, and they were looking at a date or whatever. Then next thing you know, Clarissa Shields is already looking at a fight in the U.S. and Savannah Marshall was looking elsewhere. But she and Franchon have already had a running rivalry. So they've had, words in, publicly. So that the rivalry was always there, and that fight was always, being talked about in the background. So I wouldn't say it came out of nowhere, just media-wise.
Yes, and Clarissa Shields' tickets are on sale today. Little Caesars Arena at Detroit.
Yeah, they went on sale. I think the pre-sale began yesterday. Yeah, so that's a big arena. I was
surprised too.
Yeah.
Well, they can sell out about 1/16 of it.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised they opened up as much as they did. They have the entire lower bowl open, so the upper deck is closed off, but the floor and the entire lower bowl, all those tickets are on sale. So I hope she does it. I mean, I'm glad she's getting, a homecoming fight after doing what she did last year. It's, like I said, that's a lot of arena to sell.
Now you also wrote about the other Falcao. His I guess mandatory vacant title fight.
Right.
They have a 7-day extension.
Yes.
What the hell is the holdup with these two nobodies? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's basically eliminated to fight Janibek. I don't Top Rank is obviously going to wind up getting stuck with it. I can't imagine they're going to shop the fight anywhere else. I don't know who would be possibly interested in the fight. So this should have been a slam dunk. But I do expect a deal will get made. They'll find the date an ESPN date to stick it on, and hopefully they get the winner to fight Janibek, because that's the only way any of them are going to be slightest bit relevant without claiming that nobody wants to fight them.
Now you had another fight. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lefty.
He brought up Janibek, the middleweight division. We saw Maul Charlo said he's coming back in June.
Yes.
Any potential opponent? Date?
No, I'm not sure about the opponent. Look, Tay even tweeted out that was my speculation as well. I am hearing that the original plans for Juneteenth are back in play. I don't know if it's as a headliner or if Errol Spence is fighting on that date and not against Terrence Crawford. That would be as the co-feature. But it does look like June 17th he will be fighting. So, and theoretically, Selechki would make the most sense. I don't know if that's the opponent, though.
So Ray Jackson was right?
Ray Jackson is always right.
Oh, my God.
Why are we down Ray Jackson?
Now,
hold on, wait, because it's funny, because when Ray said the shit last year, I think it was last year, when he first said the shit, what's my man name? He's supposed to be fighting, what's the dude?
Selechki.
Huh?
Yeah, Selechki.
Yeah, Selechki manager DM Ray is like, who told you this? Is this fight really happening? Who told you this? Yeah, but go ahead, man.
Yeah, I will say this too. Look, Jaime Munguia still needs an opponent. He thinks he's fighting in June. I don't know if Golden Boy has a June 10th date. He believes he's fighting in June, though, and he does not have an opponent yet. And he's obviously not fighting Bivol.
Charlo versus Munguia.
He's not fighting Bivol. I don't know if Gennady's in the mix, but so if Charlo is getting a headliner, there is the potential for at least to be a sexy one. So hopefully it's not Selechki, but I am not getting my hopes up.
Arnold Barbosa, WBO ordered him to fight out eliminated against Liam Paro, but it seems his manager, Rick Milligan, is either trying to get him a title shot with Regis Prograis, or is he just like, I don't know, maybe like trolling Prograis, because he's talking about, come fight my guy before they order this fight.
Well, too late. They already ordered the fight. So, I mean, look, obviously Barbosa can say, no, I'm not going to fight Liam Paro, but you're not going to do that and lose your place in line if you don't have that title shot lined up. Regis does need an opponent. I'm not lending any credence to these. He's the only one I saw that started the Manny Pacquiao rumor. I don't know where that came from besides him. But yeah, he's obviously not fighting Jack Catterall. That seems to be the path where he would fight Catterall later this year. That was kind of Matchroom's motivation for signing Catterall. But yeah, like I said, for Barbosa to walk away from a Liam Powell fight, he would have to have something bigger lined up. We've seen dumber decisions made on behalf of fighters, so we'll see about that. It's a very good eliminator, though.
You ain't heard this from me, but I heard Regis might be fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, come on.
Okay, right. Unless Ray says it.
No, come on, man. Now, when can we expect Beterbiev versus Smith to get done? Because according to Eddie Hearn, it should be getting done soon.
Yes, he told me that they're seeking an extension. They do believe it's going to get done. I think it's just a matter of which promoter gets control of it. Top Rank would love to do it in Canada. Eddie wants to do it in Liverpool. And he did tell me that they are trying to work out where if they can reach a deal, ESPN has the rights in the US, DAZN has the rights worldwide, or however they need to work it out to make it happen. He referenced like when Beterbiev fought Anthony Yard, how it was a split rights, so he doesn't see why the same thing can't happen here. It's not one side or the other trying to get complete control of the fight. I think it's just one side or the other trying to get hometown advantage for it. But they both seem to agree that a deal will get reached without going to a first bid.
That's not bad, I guess. There's a lot of title fights being ordered, a lot of eliminators being ordered.
It's disappointing. I've noticed an alarming number of fights that actually are going to first bid and deals that aren't getting done. Every year the BWA we nominate all these managers of the year, and it's like a lot of you guys just aren't getting shit done.
I've never seen so many fights ordered and rescinded.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I didn't even know that was legal. I thought once you told a person it was a shot, they had a shot.
Well, I mean, the IBF did it with with Bergovich. They thought he was going to get next until they realized, oh shit, we jumped the line. The WBA is supposed to go first, so it's.
Yeah, I'm saying it's people that it's not even jumping the line.
I get it. Yeah.
I get it. You got anything else before we open up questions?
No, we can go to questions.
You want to talk about Sonny Edwards?
Well, he was very disappointed that not disappointed, I guess maybe expected on his end, but that was a big talk that Jesse Rodriguez, if he beat Christian Gonzalez, which of course was expected, and escape unscathed, that he would be fighting Sonny Edwards in an eliminator. In a unification bout. That's obviously not happened. Jesse broke his jaw midway through that fight, which makes his performance understandable because it was not up to typical Bam Rodriguez standards. But he fought 6 rounds with a broken jaw, so he's going to be out until later this year. I suggested to Eddie and to Sonny both that would be a good idea to have him go to Guadalajara or Zapopan, I guess, where the Canelo fight is taking place, and go taunt, Ray Martinez all week. Sonny didn't seem to agree that's, going that route is the smartest, but I don't know if he will wind up ringside at least for it. So, but that seems to be the plan now, that if Ray beats Ronald Batista he's fighting instead of McWilliams Arroyo, that they're going to try to make that unification. And that's the fight that always made sense anyway. I don't know why they were looking at Bam and Sonny Edwards, because if you're thinking in terms of a Final Four, that would be your final matchup. They're, in my opinion, the 2 guys you would want to fight for the undisputed crown. So I expect Sonny to go fight Ray, and then when Bam is ready, maybe he fights Artem Dalakian, and then the winners then fight. So probably we're looking at an undisputed champion next year.
So McWilliams Arroyo is retired again?
I don't know why the WBC keeps trying with that fight. So that fight's been, the one fight we actually got out of them lasted 2 rounds. So that was, that should have been the sign. This fight was just never meant to take place.
The man is trying to retire, and they keep trying to force him to fight.
Exactly.
Maybe he owed Miguel Cotto money. Who knows? What's going on with?
At one point, he did announce his retirement, and then he was forced to walk that back. Yeah. Saying, all right, well, I'll do this one more.
Yeah, he's trying to retire. They keep forcing this man to fight.
He claimed he overreacted, but I think someone had a good talking to.
Yeah, Miguel Cotto said, "Bitch, better have my money." They need to recoup some stuff. Now, what's going on with the monster, the Puerto Rican monster? Jason Quigley is the opponent.
Yes, so that was established last week. There were two other names mentioned. I'm not going to say Quigley's the worst. None of them were particularly sexy, but that's what we're getting for the Monsters debut, June 24th. Match Room of his own debut, June 24th at Madison Square Garden Hulu Theater.
Matt
So
will
if
be
Quigley
in the
wasn't the
building for that
worst,
one.
who was? I will not. You saw all them Puerto Ricans on the card. Anyway, so if Quigley wasn't the worst, who was the actual worst?
He probably is
Respectfully.
He probably is the worst. Of the three names mentioned,
Well, Shane Mosley Jr. mentioned.
he was not mentioned. So of the three, Quigley is probably, I guess, the more identifiable name. There was a guy from Belfast that was considered, but they didn't go with him. I think he was like, if the way it was explained to me was that if the guy with the bigger name did not take the fight, then they were going to go with I'm drawing a blank, but the guy, it was an undefeated guy from Belfast that they were looking at, that they were going to go with him, but they were just worried about him not fighting someone that viewers wouldn't know. I don't know how many people are actually going to watch the fight on the zone, but
okay.
Yeah, I did hear at one point Selechki's name was mentioned as well, but that got ruled out. I know. So yeah, look, Quigley has been on the zone. He wasn't on the zone for very long. Well, actually, he did fight Shane Mosley Jr. on the zone. So.
He wasn't on there for long. He was on there for all the 2 rounds.
But he did go 10 with Shane Mosley and got the decision.
Look, man, if you want to set up a Canelo Berlanga fight, he got to fight guys like Quigley.
Well, and Eddie admitted that. He said he knew that it's not like, okay, I'm signing with Matchroom and going straight to Canelo. He admitted that Berlanga has to get some wins under his belt. He needs at least
but I'm saying like the type of guys you got to fight in order to make it to that point.
Right.
Is the Quigley level.
What about Brandon the Cannon? Lefty's favorite fighter.
Well, he's a 154, 150 to 160, 154 to 160, which I said Janibek should fight.
Right, exactly.
He's fighting Bang Bang Butler. All right. Let's get to the questions. Broadway, go ahead.
Here we go.
What do you mean, here we go?
No,
Come on, man.
I'm kidding, man. I'm joking.
No. Any update on Subriel Matias?
No.
What's up with him?
No clue. I don't know why they can't do. Yeah, he should be in a voluntary phase of his. I don't know that he's ordered to fight anyone, so I don't know why he can't go fight Regis next. If neither one of them have an opponent. So, I did loosely hear that they were trying to do a show in PR and that he would be a part of it, but I'm not sure how valid those rumors are. I think that's just the local promoter, Juan Orengo, being overly ambitious about it. But that's the only time I've heard his name, and I did not hear an opponent attached to that if he were to fight up.
Why isn't there a rumor he's going to fight on the East Coast? Like, do they know that there's Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Connecticut, and New York?
We have this discussion all the time, man. Whether it's him, whether it's Dominican fighters, some guys are priorities, some guys aren't. I don't know why he wouldn't be. He's as exciting as they come.
No.
Yeah.
I don't get it. All right.
I'm sorry.
I'll stop asking questions.
No, you're fine.
I can see you getting annoyed at me.
No, I thought you were going to ask me about Hector Garcia and Gary Russell. I was expecting you to follow up on that.
I have a question.
I know more than you. I know more than you on that topic, though. I'll ask about Dominicans anymore. I already know. I got the connects.
Gotcha.
I got a question from YouTube. I think this might be Broadway Joel's burner. He just said, ask Jake about Carlos Adames. What? What?
Hold on.
Wait.
That is, first of all, my bad.
He said, why is the WBC doing Carlos like this? WBC was about to strip Thurman for being out shorter time than Charlo.
Can I answer that one, Jake?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, that's not my burner, so I'll answer. I'll state that. Second of all, I'm gonna say it. WBC prioritize Americans and Mexicans, and Carlos Adames does not fit that criteria. That's from what my history of seeing how the WBC runs. And they also prioritize, whoever sells the more tickets.
It's money.
Charlo sells more tickets than Carlos Adames. Although I do, I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole. But that's pretty much the reason. There you go.
So, look, I know Charlo is on a much higher tier, but they both have the same representation. If PBC wanted that fight to happen, they could go to the WBC and make that fight happen. That's the reason why it's not. Mauricio won't, because he's taken their lead.
Okay, so
Yeah,
they both fight in June. If both
1 week
get
apart.
past their
Yep.
opponents, then I think we're likely to see that
They
fight.
should be next.
Yeah,
And
we should.
to his
yeah,
credit,
that's not gonna happen.
listen, to his credit, Steven Espinosa did mention that. He said, look, Charlo's going to be out for 2 years. They did understand it was going to be, in his words, a middling type opponent, and that he has to fight Carlos Adames. If he wants to keep his middleweight title, I'm not going to say he can't get away with it, but that he's on record saying that.
I'm telling you right now, the next fight after this is not from no source. This is me predicting. The next fight Adames is gonna have after J Rock is Lara. He's gonna get the title shot that way. He's not gonna get the title shot through the PBC protecting their golden goose.
Bro,
They're not gonna
Charlo
put
is
it.
not a golden goose.
No. What I mean is they look at him as more of a priority than Adames.
Of course,
right? Isn't that what we were just talking about?
Of course,
so they're not going to put in.
Wait, of course,
they're not going to put in Adames
because he has a higher ceiling, a higher revenue ceiling.
Yes.
This is thing.
And you making my point. You making my point.
But you called him a
they're not
golden
going
goose
to put him in there.
like he was Spence or Wilder.
That's hyperbole, Lefty.
I mean,
that's hyperbole. Okay. That's hyperbole. I was just.
Yeah,
I'm
man,
just saying they look at him as a more valuable asset.
That is boxing 101. The ones that the one that has to go make the rules. And it's not. It's not.
And
just,
Lefty, you not listening. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying he's not going to get the title shot from the WBC. No. My prediction is he's going to fight Lara. They're going to give him the title shot that way.
Okay, I would see if somehow Canelo versus Charlo happens, then I can see Lara happening. If it doesn't, then I see Lara. Then I see Charlo versus.
I see Charlo versus Triple G or some shit like that.
Triple G ain't fight.
Triple G ranked number 1.
But Triple G he gave up his belt.
Yeah, Triple G is gonna
retire. Eddie Hearn said, he's not going back and fighting for a couple million. So I doubt it'll be Triple G. It'll be probably Adames. All right, go ahead, Gary.
I doubt it.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Well, Jake, what's the thoughts on Alicia or Hitchens co-main on the Belanga card then?
I did hear strong rumors that Alicia could wind up on that card. If Hitchens, I believe Hitchens and Ergashev will fight. Obviously, the deal's not done yet, but I haven't heard that he's not taking that fight. And it's a fight that Matchroom actually wanted. So either or both of those fights could wind up on that card.
Okay, so Hitchens has actually accepted that eliminator, you think?
He hasn't rejected it. I don't know if it has to be a negotiation stage at this point. But everyone involved, they gave me updates up until that point, and then all of them just kind of stopped dead. And I saw the IBF and Hitchens team in San Antonio last week, and neither one of them gave me a straight answer on that, other than the process has stopped at Hitchens, that no one else has been sent an invitation to fight Ergashev.
Cool. So that could be a cool card if both of them on that card. Yeah.
I think that one will be a good. I mean, name-wise, it'll be a decent undercard. That fight in particular, I think, is very good. So, I know they announced a couple of fights on there. It's, Adam Kovnowski's on the card, Rishat Mati. So it'll be, look, it makes sense for a Keith Connolly managed main event fighter to have a Keith Connolly managed undercard. So that's what we're looking at, with the exception of Alicia, who I did hear will be on that show.
So that feels like they could have maybe go over the big room. If you got Alicia on there in a good fight, Hitchens, Ergashev, Belanga, I don't know. It's kind of close, I guess, but maybe the big room. Konaki as well.
Right. The only hesitance is you got Josh Taylor and Teofimo at that same site 2 weeks earlier. So that's a heavy market. I don't know. I kind of think that one will sell better, though, just for all the reasons that you just mentioned.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Hold up. Berlanga's in the big room or the...
No. They're both at Hulu. Yep.
All right. Go ahead, Hitman.
What's going on, Lefty and Jake?
Hey, Hitman. What's going on?
I just want to know updates on Andrade, Castano, and when Boots' next fight date with a bunch of emojis is coming.
Heavy bag, done, locked in. 31 and 0, 28 KOs. That's if original plans hold up, then Boots should be coming back, I would imagine, in June, because that was the original plan all along. I don't know who he's fighting. I don't have a good update on Andrade or Castano, sadly.
Headline card or undercard?
Who, Boots?
undercard. Come on, Lefty. You know he's a
Look, I
you
don't
know he
know if
don't
this
be
is,
on
again,
undercard.
I don't know what Charlo's status was. I know 2 months ago, the plan was to have Charlo and Boots on Juneteenth. Not each other, not fighting each other, obviously, as very falsely reported. There was a point where Boots' team was looking for venues to try to have him as a headliner, but I haven't heard that in the works.
Okay, we had a question from Aisha on YouTube. Why was Thurman removed from the IBF rankings?
I would have to ask the IBF that. I don't know if he's ever gone that route. He was the WBC mandatory. And if at the sanctioning bodies at the time, if a fight was scheduled, they will. It's not uncommon for them to remove him from the rankings, but that fight isn't officially announced, so it could just very well be the IBF jump.
I agree. What's up, Hans?
Hey, can everybody hear me?
What's up, Hans?
Yeah, what's up? Just wanted to
Did you get paid?
ask everybody for sure. 100%.
I got paid early. Yeah. Sorry.
I definitely got milk in my cereal. I'll tell you that much.
Yes.
But yeah,
Flake some water this month.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you guys because I was speaking to somebody from Yoshino's team, and they were saying that like pretty much they'd be open to fighting a guy like Keyshawn Davis or like an Isak Cruz or George Kambosos or whatever. So I just kind of wanted to ask everybody, do they think Yoshino can win any of those fights or probably not? That was really it.
That's a good question. Look, Keyshawn is. I've been saying I think he's the future of the sport. So there are very, very few people I pick against him. Yeah, Yoshino, I thought he would have been more competitive than he was last week. I appreciated the fact that Shakur even wanted the fight to go longer because he wanted the definitive knockout. But look, it's brave of Yoshino to want to stay at that level. I'm not going to say he can't be a Pitbull Cruz, but I think it's an uphill battle for him against anyone, any legit top 10 guy, or even Keyshawn Davis or Frank. Well, I think Frank Martin actually is in the top 10, but like Keyshawn is on his way to being top 10. So I like to see him get back in the win column before chasing those fights and just becoming an opponent.
Was that interview you did with Keyshawn for boxing scene or for fight hype?
Well, usually what I'll do is it'll just go on platforms, like it'll air on Fight Hype video form, and then I'll just take like parts of it and then put it on stories for boxing scene. There's like a second part to that interview, so that should drop on Fight Hype sometime soon. But the second part will probably be on boxing scene sometime next week. So yeah, that's how I usually do it. It just goes on both platforms basically.
All right. Do we have more questions?
Doesn't look like it. Grand opening, grand closing.
Another one. What's happening with Edwin De Los Santos? That brother has so much momentum.
Okay, that is definitely Broadway.
You want me to take that, Jay?
Of course.
All right. A few people have turned down the fight against him, and but yeah, supposedly what he told me is that he's most likely going to be on Spence's undercard. Like against who is not clear as an opponent, but
what was the date for that?
He said that he didn't have a specific date. He just said that he heard June 17th, but he's just gonna be prepared. That he's been in camp for so long, getting ready, and he's getting a little discouraged. But he says he's willing to face Frank Martin, Pitbull Cruz, Shakur Stevenson. He said there's not a name in the lightweight division he will turn down, as others have turned him down.
And it's unfortunate because everyone else is waiting for Devin Haney to give up his belts. De Los Santos is actually the one. He's coming off a career best win and is willing to fight anyone to get to a title shot. It's a shame what's happening to him.
It really is. And what makes it worse is the guy he destroyed, not just knocked out, destroyed in 3 rounds. He gets a fight on a pay-per-view undercard is like, How does he get a fight? This guy don't even have a fight lined up.
Brother,
He fought in September.
Rayo just didn't get a fight. He got a fight on a show where Edwin's own promoter was the main promoter for this one.
I know. I spoke to Samson about it too.
Go figure that out.
It's ridiculous, and for the fact that people want to say that I'm hyping it up and this, and I'm like, yo, people don't want to fight him.
Yeah, no.
They don't. They don't. Say whatever you want. They don't want to fight him.
Yeah, I mean, look, we joke that Lefty keeps bringing up Brandon Adams, but there are a bunch of guys in the sport who are punished for winning fights they're not supposed to win.
True.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, any idea what the plans are for ammo now? Because it looks like the cash thing is done. I'm not even sure what cash is doing anymore, to be honest. But
yeah, that was pathetic. They're gonna try to bring ammo back in the United States on one of these shows. Either June seems pretty filled up, so probably July. But yeah, that was a massive letdown. So he's supposed to fight him in March. Cash decided he wanted to fight this middle-aged Italian dude, and then wound up ducking out on that fight. Not ducking out, but that fight didn't happen, and he's just not interested in fighting ammo.
Yeah, I can't even rely on the guy anymore. Like, there's probably 3 fights I can think of that he's pulled out fight week or on the day or some.
Yeah, you saw it even with his own body language after that fight in December. He just, I think he realized, he walked himself into a fight. He just had no intention of taking.
Okay. All right, I got another question for you two. I ignored it the first time he asked, but since he asked again, he said, ask about Frank Sanchez.
He's fighting.
Why is he fighting Bonds when he's ranked number 1?
Okay. Well, again, he's waiting out his time. He's wanted to fight Andy Ruiz. I don't know how serious he was about fighting Deontay Wilder, but he wants to fight guys to get to the title. So he wants to become mandatory challenger and obviously fight Tyson Fury. So, he's got to stay. These guys, look, they want big fights. If they can't get them, they got to find a way to stay. We're talking about De Los Santos can't get back in the ring. Frank Sanchez, he called out these guys. He couldn't get them. So he gave the instructions to get back in the ring. Now he's back in the ring. I really can't fault. I don't like to fight, but I can't fault him for wanting to at least stay active. It's not like he's saying, I don't want to fight Andy Ruiz, but I'm going to go fight on this undercard.
Oh, I just want to add, I forgot. I spoke to Samson as well, and he told me that if within the next month or so, if they can't get something squared away for De Los Santos, they're just going to get him a stay busy fight, probably either off TV on a YouTube portion of a pay-per-view or something.
Yeah.
That is something he mentioned.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's how the sport used to run.
Okay. All right, Boots. All right, Hans.
Just another question. I don't know if it got showed on the interview, but when I was talking to Keyshawn, he was pretty much kind of saying that, if he had the opportunity to fight Loma next, well, he's already assuming that Loma's going to lose to Devin and whatever, but, he just like, hey, if he has that opportunity to fight Loma, that's something that he would want to take, even though he does feel like Loma is slipping. So I guess it's just kind of like a question like Jake and everybody else. Like, do you guys think Keyshawn can't beat Loma, like, right now if they fought at the end of the year? Or
I would pick Keyshawn. Well, I want to see how Lomachenko looks, obviously, May 20th, before I make that prediction. But I would have picked Keyshawn to beat the Lomachenko of Fortune Ortiz. How's that?
All right, we got another one from Boogs on YouTube. He said, what is the June date for Tim Tszyu? I'm thinking Charles Conwell may get the fight.
That's not a bad option. I know Tszyu's team made a big stink about, they claim Michael Zarafa's ducking him. That was complete BS. I don't have a firm update on what date in June, but yeah, Conwell would make sense if Tszyu was serious about staying that active. I mean, look, he was, I know Liam Smith's team made an offer, so he's not looking for a complete duck in this fight.
So when is Charlo supposed to be back?
So apparently the WBO needed whatever medical information to confirm that he would be available for July. If Tszyu is talking about he's fighting in June, that means Jamel is not going to be available until later.
Okay. All right, go ahead, JB's.
Yeah, Keith Addick had posted on Boxing Scene. What was it, on last Sunday? In reference to Jared Anderson getting the fight in Toledo on July 1st. Do you have any information on any other fighters that could be part of that card for Top Rank?
I have not not even dove in. I haven't got. So last week, I mentioned that this was going to be the plan. That they have to get Jared to this, spot to get
Well, I mean, I'll give
all
you
all the shit they've eliminated. All the shit they've eliminated. The WBC has now picked up that business.
Yeah, it's the whole. It's sort of crazy, honestly, but I mean,
So,
but
guys,
the thing that I got to tell you, I think it's really inexcusable though when you create interim belts and you're still not creating a situation where the guys that earn their way up the ratings get an opportunity. Like when an interim champion can be as selective about who he fights as the champion, it's sort of crazy. I mean, if there's a mandatory that the champion's supposed to face and the champion's unavailable, that's why the fucking interim champion's there in the first place.
Right, I agree.
Anyway, have a good weekend, everybody. I got to jump. Be well. Bye-bye.
And the Mongolian in question is Senvatar Erdogan. I was speaking with his team actually last week in San Antonio.
Dude, this kid is fire. I mean, he's literally like, I haven't been this excited about a prospect in a while because he just is like, and he's like, he's this Mongolian kid who was like a shepherd, like you know, literally like, you know, living, you know, like herding. You know, the guy is like old school animal, and his, you know, even he's the funniest conversation because through a translator, I love talking to this kid because he's all about just he just wants to go out there and knock people out. He doesn't think there's anybody he can't beat. You know, I have him in the kid he's fighting on this Broadway boxing. Had a, you know, gave Jesse Magdaleno a fight a couple of fights ago. The kid's like 19-9. The Mongolian's like 4-5-0, right? And he's going, you know, he wanted to fight a 10-round fight coming up from a 6. And I'm like, calm down a little bit, right? And he's like, no, I don't need to calm down. You need to calm down. Go get me the fights. And no, the kid is a lot of fun. So check him out, April 27th on DAZN on Broadway Boxing.
Is Mongolian the same as Hmong?
Excuse me, I'm starting to hear you, bro.
Is Mongolian the same as Hmong people? HMONG.
I don't. You know what? I don't know. I don't. He's Mongolian. I don't know. His nickname is Genghis Khan. That tells you something.
Yeah. Wow, that's fire.
Yeah, his nickname is Genghis Khan. He thinks he's Genghis Khan.
He's with Manny Robles,
that
right?
kid can fight.
What?
He's with Manny Robles.
Yeah, Manny Robles is training him. Robles loves him.
Yeah, the whole gym.
I used to date this Hmong chick. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a 2-time Olympian. He had the unfortunate experience of running into Shakur Stevenson in the quarterfinals in 2016, and then the eventual gold medal winner in 2020.
Look, the kid can box a little bit, but he's not a scientist, man. He's pure destruction. And
yeah, no, he's an animal.
And that's the kind of guy. Enjoy the fight. Joe Joyce by knockout, probably around the 10th round.
That's your Lou lock of the week.
I don't know if it's a lock, but I don't know if it's a lock because of the round, but I don't see the fight going the distance. I think that Zhang's a tough guy, and I don't believe in giving 4-1 on a knockout situation because who knows, but I don't see the fight going the distance. And I think Joyce, particularly Joyce with a few pounds off of him, if he picks up a step or two or speed, I love Joyce. I think Joyce might be able to beat just about anybody. So
I like the over at 8.5 rounds too.
Yeah, it could. You know, I could see that. I'm probably not going to bet the fight, but if I was going to bet it, I would take a very late knockout.
Mm-hmm.
All right, have a good weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Oh, thanks, Lou. Yes, and so you're right. And so to Lou's point, I mean, it is good that DAZN is finally opening up shop because it was a closed shop for the longest time. And Lou was actually one of the promoters who literally screamed about, you know, you can't do something without doing business with Eddie or with Oscar De La Hoya. So DAZN is opening up that path. I actually wrote a story about Koki Kameda, former 2-time, well, I guess technically 3-division champ, but 2-division champ, and he also had a regular title. But he's promoting out of Japan. He's got a show later this evening, but he was in town last week. He went to New York to speak to Joe Markowski and also was in San Antonio to speak to Eddie Hearn. He's interested in partnering up with them to bring big shows from Japan, you know, to a wider audience in the U.S. So DAZN is, you know, even if it's one-off or they're doing like just, you know, these small hole shows, they are interested in that business. They know that they can't just get by. We keep, you know, sticking with just Matchroom and Golden Boy and these Misfit boxing shows.
Well, we got Yeti Gang TV coming up. We also have Jake Paul and
More pay-per-views. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm
a
not gonna
pay-per-view?
It is, yeah. This is on pay-per-view. Yeah, so Jake Paul just keeps slutting around, going from platform to platform. So now he's right back. He made his pro debut on the zone, so now he's back on the zone. So there you should be doing a press conference in a couple of weeks for that show.
Making a killing.
Right. So I'll be meeting up with Ray Jackson there in August. The American Airlines Center.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, I do. I love that fight. I'd have loved it if he didn't fight Tommy Fury. I've always wanted to see him fight Nate Diaz. So,
yeah.
I'm more interested in that than KSI. I like KSI. I don't know. That's a fight to me that would be like if Jake Paul never fought again, at least he got to fight Nate Diaz.
Yeah, that's a huge fight. Shit, him fighting his brother is an even huger fight.
Which I don't rule out.
Exactly. All right, we got any more questions? Comments, concerns, complaints? Let me see what we got on the guy.
Complaints. Comments, man. Just have the thing out there, with Elijah Garcia. Got the interview out there. Well, hold up. Shoot. A-side in the building. Think you got
what's going on, guys? My bad. I had a flag football game. I tuned in late. Jake, what's going on?
What's up, A-side?
Hey, Jake, my apologies for being late, man. But did you already discuss what's going on with this Lamont Roach and Hector Garcia?
No, just very loosely. The fight was ordered. There's a weird conflict going on between PBC and the WBA, so I don't expect those talks to go far. I mentioned it earlier that the original plan was for Hector Garcia to fight Gary Russell, but they never put that on paper. They never informed the WBA, so the WBA went ahead and ordered that fight. So it could have greater ramifications, but I fully expect that one. I'm surprised the Golden Boy hasn't even asked for a purse bid yet, to be honest.
I'm not surprised by that. But do we know what? And follow up, my apologies. But do we know what Lamont Roach with his contract is like with the zone? I mean, with Golden Boy, because he been.
I don't know how many fights he has.
Been a one fight a year fighter.
Right. I don't know how many fights he has left. And honestly, with these contracts too, if Lou was still on, he could better explain it. I don't know if like getting a guy a title shot kind of extends it, but Golden Boy did get him an eliminator. Now they're getting him a title shot. So yeah, I just don't know that end of it. They do have him fighting for a title next, so it's the best I could say. Hello?
Is that? He must have
you gotta unmute.
Okay, he's good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I guess that's about it. Unless you got anything else, anybody?
Yo, shout out to Boog. I think he has an interview coming up with Sena Becco.
No, that was yesterday.
That's supposed to be later today. Oh, yesterday? Last night?
Yeah, he did last night.
All right, cool. So yeah, you got that out. So shout out to him for that. And yeah, I spoke with Elijah Garcia ahead of this fight coming up Saturday. So that's what I got. And I know that Broadway got a bunch of content coming out too, and so does A-side. So they get y'all plugged them too.
Got you. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, my bad, Jay. I'm sorry. My thing was switching. Last question. What's the chances of Regis Prograis signing with the Zone?
I don't rule that out at all. It's a move that makes sense, especially if Eddie is dead serious about getting Jack Catterall. I mean, he just signed Jack Catterall. The fight he wants to do is with Regis. So I asked everyone there last weekend about Regis, coming on board. Nobody gave me, they just kind of gave me looks, but it's a move that completely makes sense, especially since he's very adamant on record saying nobody can speak on his behalf.
Broadway about to explode.
Have you got an update with Andre's injury status?
I do not, unfortunately not.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Now I'm done for real. My bad.
You're fine, man. Always a pleasure.
Broadway, how do you feel about that Regis possibly signing with Matchroom?
Yeah, you know how I feel. I don't like that shit. I want to see that Matias fight. Matias talk about he want to put you in the hospital. Why the fuck I don't even know how Jack Catterall sounds. I've only seen him fight once. Like what? That fight does absolutely nothing for you. Yo, Matias got a belt. Matias got an exciting style. Matias is calling you out. He talking about putting you in the hospital, and you want to fucking fight this guy? Fuck out of here, man. That's the shit with fucking boxing, bro. It makes no sense. PBC also got Player who got a WBA. Go that route.
Well, Riley got to lift that off of him real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna make so much money when Playo cook this guy, man. I'm gonna make so much money. Same way I got so many bets with Adames beating J-Rock. I don't know how people think J-Rock is gonna win, but hey man, I'm gonna be a rich man come with, I think it's June like 24th or something like that.
Yeah.
And anybody who wants to bet that still and is hearing me talking shit about that Adames, just slide in my DM.
I that's a head scratcher for Regis signing with Matchroom though. Like you said, man. I mean,
that's not a head scratcher. That's what Regis does. I mean, I don't understand what people to do anything different than what they've always done.
Right.
A head scratcher would be
I need that
with Top Rank
fight.
PBC. That would be a head scratcher.
I mean, you got PBC with all those guys at 140. You got Top Rank with all those guys at 140, and you sign with Metro. Oh, all right.
He hasn't though.
Yeah, I'm okay.
He hasn't.
I'm okay with Top Rank. I'm okay. I prefer PBC because they're the ones with the belts. They're the ones with the guys there that will make more exciting fights. But if he signed with Top Rank, I'm cool. I understand. They got Taylor. They got T.O. Haney possibly moving up. Jose Ramirez, Barboza. They got guys on Top Rank. Yo, you sign with Matchroom, you're doing a disservice to yourself, man.
If they're putting a number on it though, that's what's going to make most sense to him though. You know, if you sign with PBC, what's the guarantee you're going to fight more than once a year and for the amount of money that you want? You know, what's the guarantee that you're going to fight Matias and Pollo back to back?
Matias is very interested in that fight. So you definitely could get that fight. Now you unified champion if you beat him.
I'm not saying otherwise, but Matias is not going to determine whether or not that fight happens. He's got bosses upon bosses speaking on his behalf.
No, but why would you, if you PBC, why would you sign Regis to fight, to put him to fight who? Like, you would want to put him with your top guys, you unify. And even if not, you got Gary Antoine Russell. That's an exciting fight. You got Elvis Rodriguez. You got Lipinets. The PBC is loaded at 140.
Look, I think we all speak the same language. You know, we all see that. We all know what makes the most sense. But as Lefty said, every move that Regis has made since the pandemic has not made sense. I like that. I love him. Look, he's one of my favorite interviews. I love watching him fight. I love talking to him outside the ring, but his career has just been bizarre. So I'm glad he's now taking full control of it. I would like to think that he could afford to be a free agent and just kind of sign a one-fight deal with each promoter to get the fight that he wants. I don't know how realistic that is, but bearing down with any promoter long term, I'm not sure is in his best interest.
How old is Regis?
I should know this.
I think he's like 34. He's like 34.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't realize he was that old. I thought he was like 31.
I thought he was 31.
Nah. Let me check right now. He's like 34 or something like that.
Yeah, he got to get the move on early. He got to get in motion now.
Yeah, he's 34.
Damn. Yeah, he got to get in motion now. All right, anybody from YouTube got a comment before we shut this down? I just got some new people stepping in. Jake, what's your prediction for next week?
With Tank and Ryan?
Yes.
I said all along, I think it's going to be a lot like, several of Tank's past fights. It's going to be competitive up until he decides it won't be. So I'm picking Tank, knockout somewhere between 7 and 9. I will say that was a very, very strange workout that Ryan Garcia had earlier this week. I don't know. Just seeing Tank's workout and seeing Ryan's, it just kind of reminded me of Rocky 3.
I keep hearing about the workout. What happened so bad at the Ryan?
No, it was nothing bad. It was a cookout, basically. He, did some light work in the ring. He ate tacos. He, had a whole buffet.
Yeah, it was like at a mansion, right?
Yeah, it was out in Beverly Hills. Yep, or San Fernando Valley.
I was on this new YouTube channel last week, and somebody from Ryan Garcia camp was on there.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he was saying that we'd come in heavy and just pay the fine if we don't feel that we can make the weight.
Right.
And this is that. He's also the dude that said that Tank wanted a 22 by 22 ring, which we found out that was a lie. Right. That's not happening.
I don't know why Tank would.
Yeah, but he was claiming that Ryan would come in at, I think he said 138.
I guess we'll find out next week. 6 more days.
I told him you can't say that. He was like, Ryan got these endorsement deals and all this other money, and I said, but this is not your money. You can't say that. If he said okay, but you can't tell this man that he gonna spend his money just because you feel like that. Somebody said Ryan worked out for 5 minutes and left.
Yeah, it was not a traditional media work. I mean, which look, most of those are just jerk-off sessions anyway. And that one really was. There wasn't even a lot of great content that came out of it. Just a very weird session.
Well, fight week. Hopefully, both guys make it to the fight unscathed, and nothing happens. Any other questions? You got to promote anything? Happy birthday to Nika.
Yes.
Have a safe trip back to the United States. JD, you got something?
Yeah, I was actually in regards to that. Does anyone know how big the fine is for coming in overweight to the fight?
Do we know what?
How big the fine is if Ryan is to come in overweight?
I have no idea. But this dude was talking about it like it was his money. Which I was trying to tell you, you can't tell that man that he's just gonna come in and overweight. I think he said it was a couple million or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's a 7-figure fine. I thought it was $1 million. It could be more.
Yeah, for if he came in 2 pounds overweight, he was saying it's a couple.
I
million.
got you right. Yeah.
That ain't nothing to Ryan. I'm like, bro, that's not your money.
Yo, people be like 2 million, like it's nothing. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
I know
Oh,
it's because
$2
Ryan
million?
makes so much money. He's like, well, he can drop 2 million. Well, Ryan probably doesn't want to lose that too.
That's a big risk too. If Tank decides to tell him "fuck you" without fighting, then all you're doing is spending $2 million.
Yeah. All right. Anybody got something they want to plug before we let it go?
Yeah, don't forget to plug my bets in today. NBA also started NBA playoffs. Philadelphia 76ers over the Brooklyn Nets. Booked that today. They are 8.5-point favorites. You also have the New York Knicks. I believe they will upset the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have the Sacramento Kings versus the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people are picking Golden State, but look for the young Sacramento Kings to beat the Golden State Warriors. And I'm picking the Lakers to upset the Memphis Grizzlies. If you guys want to bet these boxing cards, holla at me. Except for you, Ray Jackson, please don't message me no more, Ray. Please. I'm begging you, man. I can't take it no more. But anybody else, hit me up. We can get these bets in.
I interviewed Brian Mendoza last Wednesday. One of my best interviews, I'll be honest with you. If you guys haven't checked it out, just go over there, check it out. Make sure y'all hit the like and subscribe button on Broadway Joel. That's my channel right there. And also leave a comment. It helps me out with the algorithm. So if you watch the interview and it's a great interview, just leave a comment. Hey, great interview. It'll help me out with the algorithm to push that interview into people's timelines and stuff like that. So definitely go check that interview out. I don't have no interview set yet. I'm trying to work something out with Joan Guzman, but he's a busy guy, so I'll get him eventually.
I'm gonna get on him. I'm gonna make that happen for you. That's gonna be my one connection to you. I know you know that, dude. I know people too that can make that happen.
Yeah,
Look,
you know how it is.
Well, Mendoza, you talk about people who want to earn a title shot. I love the fact that he's not just going to take this belt and say, okay, I'm going to wait out Charlo. He's even talking about he wants to fight Jesus Ramos again. I love that mentality. Yeah, I love his mentality.
He told me Ramos, Fundora, he'll move up to 60 for the right opportunity.
Yeah.
He said he's willing to fight anybody. I'm telling you, I got to watch that interview with me and Mendoza. Great personality. He didn't no comment me in any question. He answered all my questions. Great interview. Go check that out, please.
Yeah, he's in a really, really great place in his career right now. And the crazy part is that fight kind of went chalk up until it did. So it wasn't like a dumb risk for Fundora. He got caught.
Yeah.
We don't want to penalize guys for taking fights like this.
And for those who don't know what went chalk mean, that is a betting term, meaning the favorite was indeed winning. Yep. Once again, tune in to MVO's bets if you want to make some money this weekend. Thank you.
I just hope he don't get that De Los Santos treatment. That's all I hope. You know what I'm saying? I hope him scoring an upset means he can still get a fight.
I think a rematch with Ramos is very sellable.
Broadway's dream card is Adames main event, De Los Santos co-main event.
Now the thing, listen. I would love. I want Charlo and Adames. Now this is my dream card right here. You asked since you brought that up. If you could put this at the Barclays Center, you got Adames versus Charlo main event. Co-main, you got, let's say, Elvis versus Akhmadov. Oh, Akhmadov got a fight. Lipinets, and then under that, you got Luis Nunez, the featherweight, fighting somebody in his weight class. He's coming off beating 4 undefeated fighters in his last fight, so you find him. Now, Nunez lives and trains in Brooklyn. He has a big following. He'll be able to sell tickets. Elvis Rodriguez, manager, is a very influential person in the Dominican community. He'll sell tickets, and Adames is like he has a presence and he'll sell tickets as well as Charlo. I think that event right there will show, the.
All right, Lefty, your show has jumped the shark, man. It's time to go.
To be fucking respected. Put it like this: they'll sell more than what Helenius sold. Wilder versus Helenius sold. That card I think.
Yeah, that was a $1 million gate.
Yeah, it was like 4,000 people in there. There was more talk there than people.
All right, now you about to get blocked by
Quantity
MVO.
over quality.
I just want to throw a little dig at MVO. That's it. That's all I wanted to do.
You was there though, right?
I was there for Michelle Rivera.
Okay. All right, you was there. That's what I'm saying.
But Michelle.
Well, I will say this one thing: Broadway do have a people united against Adames. At least they gone from not caring to hating them, so that's a good thing.
There you go. That's hey, I'm moving the needle somehow. God damn.
All right. Anything else?
I think we've reached the end of the internet.
It's not.
Great show, Jake Lefty.
All right. Catch you guys later, man.
Nice, guys. All right, enjoy the fights tonight. Or tonight, I should say. Not even tonight.
Yep, all right.